film which you are about to see is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of 5 young actresses by the hands of Joe and his invalid brother, Bunnyman. It is all the more tragic in that they were young, but could have had very, very long acting careers. They could have not expected, nor would they have wished, to be subjected to as much of the bad and straight up awful shit in this movie. For them, an idyllic summer afternoon hike became a nightmare. The events of that day were led to the discovery of one of the most awful films in the annals of American history, the Bunnyman Massacre. Give me those taglines.
All right. That was great. Monsters are real.
Fuck it. Next tagline.
One by one, they all fall down.
This movie doesn't have to do anything with Ring Around the Rosie, so I don't know why that is on here at all. That could be coronavirus's tagline.
Oh. Damn, we're number one. We're number one. With no reported gross and no reported budget. With
it shows.
Shotgun deaths. Damn it. Here's those numbers, guys. We got shotgun deaths, chainsaw deaths, machete hackings, school bus of chainsawed children, 1 pair of breast, sleeping bag body bag, heads blown off, machetes to the throat, sniping police officers, do a barrel roll, drill press eyeballs, grappling hook takedowns, eye gouging, and an on-screen suicide with countless deaths due to the children in the school bus, a 4 on IMDb. It's 2014's The Bunnyman Massacre. Let's drop some bombs.
Hot dog, please.
You want some onion on that? We got the onion, but they don't smell right.
This is great. The old bastard has blown a fuse in the middle of a thermal, and we're gonna roast.
I'd like you to meet Bimbo Cup.
I show ya! April Fool! April fucking Fool, you motherfucker!
My mom's a werewolf.
You come barging in here, interrupt what might have been the most important phone call of my life, and tell me that your mom's a werewolf?
I mean, my mother's a real honest-to-goodness werewolf.
Big deal. My mother's a cow.
Welcome to Bombs Away, the B-Movie Comedy Podcast. My name is Jonathan Young. Joining me over where this film is made, as always, is...
Rabbit Boy. It's me, Tyler Rowe. I was trying to think of a play on Bunnyman, and all my brain would give me is Rabbit Boy. So.
That just sounds like something from the National Enquirer.
Yo, when are they gonna make a Bat Boy movie?
There was a Bat Boy movie. Somebody listening, correct me, because I'm not gonna waste time. For the listeners out there, like we want to hear about Bunnyman. But correct me if I'm wrong. There was some sort of Bat Boy movie in the '90s that was definitely on Cinemax, where they found a boy in a cave, and he very much looked like the Bat Boy from the National Enquirer. And that's the only things that I remember. But he was genuinely supposed to be like a normal boy that had deformities or something.
I really miss that era of the National Enquirer. Like, because I used to like close my eyes looking at those magazines because they would scare me. But like the headline I always remembered was that they found Bat Boy in the same cave they found Saddam Hussein. So
oh man, that's when they were combining different, Bat Boy plus Saddam conspiracy theories and everything.
Yeah, it's actually
like
the Bat Boy cinematic universe. It wasn't until the 3rd film that they introduced Saddam Hussein.
That's a very interesting thing that you bring up, because it's something that I wanted to start off with, is the fact that this film should feel like, or should be like its predecessors from like 1987. It has all the workings of something that we would have liked in that time frame, and we have praised on the show. I'm
going to go ahead and say it has everything you would expect, but definitely not like. Because I don't know if it... Because it's interesting. I read a review when I was looking for the reviews for the end of the episode that said this would have been a perfect 80s slasher film. And I don't know if it would have been, because at least the ones that we praise on this show are better written at the very least.
Well, yes, but I just mean this kind of error. This
Yes.
style, right? Because what's going on here is I feel like, at least for me, and a lot of people in my age generation, we have, 7-year gap between us? Right? Or more than that, right?
10 years.
Is it fully 10?
You're 37 now, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I'm 27.
So I feel like growing up, we were the last remnants of like that kind of Puritan, like what you can and cannot watch, right? And at the exact same time, we were introduced to the first medium that could record anything. So it felt grungy and it felt taboo to like discover all the crazy stuff that we've talked about on the show.
Yeah.
And it felt unique and genuine, and the people who were making it were like, oh my God, we've got $50,000 and we've only got one chance to do it. So, it's written on Tuesday, it's filmed on Wednesday, and it's out on the shelves by Thursday. Now, people don't take that kind of care because, one, it's not 35 millimeter, and two, anybody can pick up a camera. So like what should be within the same vein as everything else that we praise and love from 30 years prior just feels shallow and hollow.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize to anyone who listened to last week's episode where I said that there was probably a good chance that because Angels in the Infield was actually good, that maybe Bunnyman would be good. And I'm just going to quell that right now and come out straight up and apologize for ever even insinuating that this movie was going to be good. I really feel bad that I let you down, and I want to make that clear.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, happy Easter, I guess.
Easter was canceled. Jesus isn't coming back this year. He's stuck inside the rock. He's not allowed to come out.
You get Bunnyman instead.
Oh, Jesus.
What's really funny is that my brain somehow did not register until today that for the past 2 years, I have picked Bunnyman movies for our Easter kind of celebration. Yet the movie before Bunnyman, the episode before, has both been Angels in Something episodes.
Angels in My Asshole coming next year.
Oh, no. No, in the cockpit, remember?
Oh, Jesus.
They're coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in a very Christian-themed Easter when it comes to us, go check out the Angels in the Outfield from episode 3. We have Angels in the End Zone, which is 103, and last week's Angels in the Infield. And if you're looking for how Bunnyman came to be, check out episode 104, which is our first take on Bunnyman. And you'll notice it hasn't gotten any better.
No, not at all.
Only the cinematography.
Yes, and that's why I actually thought this was going to be a lot better, because it looked like there was some production value behind it, but I was wrong.
So these are written and directed by Carl Lindbergh, and he has pretty much only done these and 2 other films on IMDb that have around the same rating. So what you see is what you get. Like, I mean, if you research the director, it's pretty average right across the board.
Yeah, you're not going to get anything different, really.
So the movie starts off with just old found footage from 1920 to 1940, somewhere in there. But I don't trust it because people are wearing fedoras. And I just think Nazis.
Did you notice the music that is playing during this part?
No.
It is the camera shutter noises from Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, because you said music. Okay.
Well, yes,
well,
I mean, the soundtrack to this opening part is the...
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you guys really... Like, that's really what we're doing here?
It's okay. You are allowed to use other massacre pieces in your massacre piece. It's like a joint massacre production.
It's the MCU, Massacre Cinematic Universe.
Oh, man. You got to form like a whole bunch of massacres in order to snap them all out of existence because they're horrible.
Bunnyman is definitely like the war machine of the Massacre Cinematic Universe. Like, just so useless and only shows up in Endgame to like do one thing and leave.
Oh. That's a fair analogy.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like who's the most like non-memorable Avenger, and it's definitely him.
Oh, poor guy.
If it wasn't for the fact that it's Don Cheadle, no one would care.
That's fair. So Bunnyman would be the Iron Man 1 of War Machines.
Yes.
There you go.
So this movie does not lay out for you right off the bat where it takes place. But as Jonathan said up top, I very quickly noticed that this looked like Riverside in the opening scenes. I scratched my head throughout this whole film because it's supposed to take place in Idaho.
Really?
Yes. The state trooper you see later is wearing an Idaho state trooper uniform.
Do they have an I-95 in Idaho?
No. So
No.
this is okay. So I just want to break this down for you guys. The literal non-care that was given to making this film. It's supposed to take place in Idaho. Everyone has like deep South redneck hick voices, which is like, that's not Idaho.
Nope.
And then
Later on, there's a character that asks, how do you get to I-95? And I was like, yeah, dude, you're about like 3,000 miles from I-95. You better stock up.
yes. And then on top of that, later on, when we go to one of our locations, which is here in Riverside, the California flag is just flying like literally dead center in the shot. So, oh God.
So the first scene that is footage that wasn't found footage is we see a school bus and it's going to pull up on a student that is sitting out on a school bus bench out on like a desert, like a dirt road.
No, just your average road here in Riverside.
and so, yeah, right off the bat with this first footage, like I said, it looks better filmed, but it's misleading that the rest of the movie, you're like, God damn it. Like, I thought we were doing better than the last time we saw any of this. And that is true for, I guess, the rest of this movie. Is I thought we had learned something from the last time we made a movie.
I genuinely was going to give this movie some kudos and some points and a slight pass for the sheer balls it has of showing 30 children being murdered on a school bus with a chainsaw. I was really like, you know what? This movie fucks around. I like this, but that's where I stopped, essentially.
I can't disagree with you because you're sitting here and Bunnyman immediately just walks up to this stopped school bus. The bus driver has opened the door. You can see that the student on the bench falls over and is dead. And before the bus driver knows it, Bunnyman has pulled a shotgun up on their driver's side window and just blew her brains out.
So here's my favorite thing. I love looking for continuity errors in these movies that we do. Before he shoots her in the head, she turns around because all the kids are yelling to let her know that a bunny is walking at. And she's like, you guys need to shut up. You're making too much noise. And when she turns, there's already blood dripping off of her head before the shotgun blast even goes off. It's literally like in her hair. So I think they had to do the shot twice.
You guys need to shut up. You fucked up that last take. We're not doing it twice, fucking kids.
So yeah, Bunnyman shoots this bus driver. All the kids are screaming. And then he proceeds to get on the bus and start hacking them to bits.
Okay, so how long is this bus? Because there is definitely cut between the kids and Bunnyman back and forth as they run towards the back door and he's coming, where he is either just standing there, just revving the chainsaw, pretending to like walk towards them, or he is running down the aisle. It's
a new prototype quadruple accordion school bus. So it's actually just like, it's 48 feet long and it's just full of children. Cause yeah, it takes him forever to get through this bus to the end. It's like, dog, it's kids, man. You're gonna cut through them pretty easily.
You could have taken out 4 with just like one swipe, probably.
Why didn't you just take the gun on there?
Like any normal killer.
Like any normal American killer. Yeah, and like I said, I was really willing to be like, damn, this movie, this is fucking sweet that he like killed these kids, but then that was it.
Yeah, And so a couple kids escape, he runs after them, and then boom, we have the title card. But the title card is a sign of a school bus that gets splashed with blood from a completely different direction than Bunnyman ran after the kids.
Yeah, it's super sick. It's cool.
And it says Bunnyman Massacre. So boom, we're off. And you're right. Like, if this is what the movie will be, just going balls to the wall, very hobo with a shotgun, I'm down. I'm very much down. But that's not what happens, guys. So
no, this movie is, for a setup like that, this movie is boring as fuck from here on out. It took me 3 sittings to watch this movie, and it's only an hour and a half long.
We were supposed to record this like a week ago, and by no fault of our own, just by pure, like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I literally just have been like, you want to put it off till tomorrow? Everybody in this movie is camping or hiking in some way, shape, or form when they interact with the characters of Bunnyman and the character that we'll be introduced to called Joe, which are our 2 just mass murderers in this film. The thing I cannot understand is, this is the same area as Bunnyman 1? Do we know that?
Supposedly, yeah, I get. Well, it's funny because it's definitely not. Because, like, you know what? Bunnyman had a much better location.
It did. To catch you up from the first movie, the events were that Bunnyman killed a bunch of people. He was living with a family, which involved some girl and another dude who were also, like, picking up hitchhikers and bringing them to the place to be killed, where Bunnyman lived. And the character of Joe, that becomes now pretty much our main character in this movie, was just a one-scene weird, rude hillbilly to our main characters as they became stranded and walking through this area.
I don't know. It's baffling because I was also confused. I was like, I don't remember this character being in this.
He was just a guy who harassed the original people and made sexist, rude comments to them before they moved on to the next thing. That's all he did.
Let me raise you this. He is the chop top of this film. Wasn't in the first one, but now is like running the show. Yep. It's and that would be like a weird, like, out of nowhere comparison if it wasn't for the fact that this movie is straight up just ripping off Texas Chainsaw Massacre from, like, plot point to plot point.
For sure, with a little bit of Friday the 13th intertwined, because what's happening now is we have 3 campers, 2 of which are having sex in a tent, and the other one is asleep, and everybody has gone to bed at dusk.
Yeah.
Because this movie loves day to night scenes.
I'm not sure if these are filmed day to night. I think these might be actually at night, just very poorly lit.
Okay. Everything's just overly blue.
Yeah, and they may have put a filter on it, but I think it actually is filmed at night.
Okay. So you have one girl that's sleeping in a tent all by herself, and Bunnyman just proceeds to take a machete and pierce through the tent and just slice down like a butter.
Listen, now here's the problem, right? I don't really have a perfect sphere of understanding when it comes to noises while I sleep, because I would argue that I am quite possibly the lightest sleeper on earth. But this machete rips through this tent to cut it open. Sounds like a jet engine is taken off, and she barely stirs.
It's like like somebody was standing above her with 3 reams of paper and was just like, rip.
Yeah, and she's like,
what?
Forest noises.
Bunnyman takes both hands, rips open the seam more, and sticks his hands inside to grab her before she's like, the fuck?
She's like, oh shit. It's not Easter. She just gets killed.
Bunnyman grabs her by the sleeping bag and proceeds to fully rip off Friday the 13th Part 7.
Yes, yeah. And then this is, again, my favorite thing because it's like you can really see the constraints of the budget and the skill set on this film because he bashes the shit out of her on a rock and she rolls out of the sleeping bag like they do in Friday, but she's like barely fucked up. He hits her so much on this rock that she should be pulp, and she's literally like some blood on her.
Well, because I don't know if you saw it, what they did is they were like, okay, if we're going to rip off Friday, we got to go like one step further. So Friday, this infamous sleeping bag scene was cut to pieces from the MPAA. We're talking about the New Blood sleeping bag scene from Kane Hodder. And he hit multiple times a girl inside a sleeping bag onto trees. And the MPAA was like, you got to take out a couple hits. And so it finally got cut down to 2 hits. And that was it, with no gore, just the final girl dropping out of the bag. And that was it. This movie was like, okay, we're going to do that. We're going to go one step further. So 1, no tree, rock. And
rock
then
and roll.
And then not 2 hits, 4 hits. And the final hit, her skull will explode out the bag.
Yes, but there's so much
like
blood.
that.
Yeah, there's so much blood that comes out of it. You're like, oh, dude, she's gonna be fucked up. But then when she rolls out, it's just like they just dumped blood on a chick, and we're like, all right, let's call it good.
That's all the chicks in this movie that just are covered in blood.
However, I do have to say there is one moment where there is some okay gore compared to everything else in the movie. Because yeah, you're right. It is just like, all right, just dump blood on them. That looks like, that looks like the person's been fucked up, not fully understanding that, like, when you cut someone up with a chainsaw, I'm sorry, you're going to have to show gore. Like, you have to show gore. You can't just be like, there's just blood and we're good to go.
Hey, when you think of Massacre, what do you think of? Blood. Cool.
Just blood. No bits, though.
Blood everywhere. Everywhere. So, Bunnyman proceeds to move over to the other 2 campers, and one guy's like, oh, I heard something, and they're having sex, and here's our nudity for the movie, guys. There you go.
Can you believe it? I was so disappointed. This is all we got for this whole movie, and it wasn't even that great.
So now the guy is like, I heard something, and she's like, no, I didn't hear anything, and before you know it, boom, shotgun right through the tent. His head is blown off right into her face. She starts screaming, runs out. You would think the final kill within these 2, because you're like, okay, those were pretty cool. This one is so, like, meh.
Oh, her?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things of like, this movie doesn't know what it wants and what it wants to be, because I think she gets a lame kill because they really want to focus on the titties.
Agreed. Fully agree. So, yeah, she just walks right up to the other dead body of her friend. Like, she doesn't run. She walks out and looks at the body and starts screaming. And instead of continuing going, she, of course, gets a machete right to the throat.
Yeah, and it's one of those, like, shitty, like, throat cuts like we got in Friday 5. It's just like, slice. All right, moving on.
Machete to the gut. Machete to the gut. So, yes, absolutely. Moving on. This movie does not care about a single character that it will introduce. Even when it pretends to tell you that this is your main characters, throughout this movie, it would be lying to you. I'm going to say that right now.
Yeah, that it doesn't give a shit about a single person, not even the killers, really.
No, because a thought that I had when I thought that these next group of characters were going to be important was that you know that you're on a low-budget movie when the movie itself decides to give your heroes a Chevy Cobalt. But then the movie went one step further and gave our killer a Toyota 4Runner.
That was just the actual actors' cars.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And okay, let me just put it out there that I have to admit, and I think I admitted this on the last Bunnyman episode too, is that I myself have made a really shitty horror movie back 10 years ago that is literally a ripoff, even sometimes line for line of other things. It was just there to have fun and be a parody. But I will be the first one to say that the only vehicles you use in these types of situations are the ones you have on hand.
That's why I'll never direct a horror movie unless I have money, because no one's going to be frightened in a tense situation if someone gets into a Prius C.
Yeah.
All the tension will be lost getting into that thing.
It's like when Rick Grimes was driving around a Hyundai in the second season of Walking Dead. Because it was sponsored.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, we just found this on a car lot. New. So they pull up to what will be a kind of main location in the film is Joe's convenience store.
Okay, and this is where I went and looked up what this is. And this is a ranch in Menifee, which is a city right next to Riverside. It's in Riverside County. It's a park. It's literally it was an actor or somebody. It says the name on top of actually his store.
It was Spawn Ranch.
Oh, God. No, because if it was Spawn Ranch, there'd be a lot more fucking in this movie.
That's true. Be a lot more feet.
Oh, hell yeah.
What you're saying is that this is an actual ranch in Riverside that looks like Wild West Town and Ghost Town in Knott's Berry Farm is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. They should have filmed this in Knott's Berry Farm. The production value would have been a lot better, I think.
Let me ask you something. Throughout the dawn of time, how have general stores locked up for the night?
With those swing doors on
Yeah.
them? Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, can't ever go home, man. I'm so afraid of theft.
If I've learned anything from playing Red Dead Redemption, the shopkeeper's always there, regardless of what time of night it is.
Or if you just blew his brains out last week.
Yeah, he'll show back up.
Yeah. So the characters, like I said, that you think are going to be important. By the way, guys, I only have names for 2 or 3 of our victims in this film. These people I don't have names for because it does not matter. So this father of this group of 4 walks in and is like, everybody else stay in the car. This place looks weird. He gets in there and he asks, how do you get to I-95? And like I said, that's 3,000 miles away, buddy. At least.
You are in the wrong place.
That's back home. That's definitely the entire East Coast. He grabs this beef jerky, and we get this scene that confirms that, yes, Joe indeed has joined Bunnyman on his massacre, and we went and missed out on a scene in which that connection happens.
There is one moment that actually made me genuinely laugh in this movie, and it is in this interaction. Because they completely rip off Texas Chainsaw, as we said, and they are selling beef jerky that is human meat. Now, the guy comes in and he's buying some and he goes, well, why is there gold stars on it? And he goes, well, and then there's this quick cut of Joe shooting a cop. And then he goes, it just means I marinated it longer. And it's where is this humor? Where is this expertise of timing in the rest of this movie? Because that's fucking hilarious.
What's funny about the scene that you described is that what you didn't mention is that it was a sniping, not just he didn't just walk up to a cop and just shoot him down. He sniped him. So he actually waited for the cop to come around. And that's what's so funny about the marination joke that you speak of. I was like, okay, this movie has potential.
Yeah.
And it just degrades throughout this.
Well, that's why I was the intro of this movie, this is about probably 15, 20 minutes into the movie at this point. I was actually getting kind of oh, this might actually be okay. It might be bad, but it might be okay. Because that moment purely set me, and I was like, all right, that's pretty funny. That's a pretty well-written joke.
Yeah.
But then I actually read in the trivia about 20 pages into the script, the writer actually quit and his child wrote the rest of it. So that's why it's the way that it is from here on out.
So the scene ends with Joe watching these couple drive off, and the mom is breastfeeding, and he's like, oh man, yeah. And he's talking to himself, basically talking out loud. They can't hear him, but he's like, get some of that protein. Yeah, I love my job. And I'm like, your job?
My job is to watch women breastfeed.
Yeah. But also, you love being a completely abandoned ghost town general store operator?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For what I guess is a hiking path.
He would definitely argue that he is an essential business in this current crisis. He would make all of his workers get sick.
So the scene cuts over to establish that Bunnyman and Joe actually live together and they are working together, which was not previously established prior to this in any other movie. And Joe is in the middle of hanging a skeleton outside.
Yeah, what? To like dry it?
It never comes back. I don't know. It wasn't like he was hanging a leg or, a rib cage full of meat or anything. It was a completely stripped to the bone skeleton that looked like it just came out of like Mr. Bone Stripper from Nothing But Trouble. But I don't know why he's hanging it. Bunnyman comes into the scene and Joe is just harassing him. He's just like, hey, do you spell that fucking sign right? And this is all for jokes that don't have a great payoff for us to be spending 2 to 3 minutes of dialogue on.
Great payoff. I will raise you. No payoff. I will raise you that there is literally not a moment of me being like, oh, that paid off.
Yeah, no, true. Because Bunnyman misspelled a sign and it doesn't matter because all it was to tell people to come to Joe's shack, right? So to get business, not even to murder him, I don't think. I think he's
just to get business.
Yeah, it's just to eat the meat of the people they're murdering. They're like, man, this economy's killing us. We need more people.
Leatherface, you really done it now.
God damn it. Everybody is social distancing so nobody's hiking and we're losing business. So Bunnyman sits down to dinner with Joe and the place is shitty like you would expect in, Texas Chainsaw. And Bunnyman is still sitting in full bunny costume. Mind you guys, he does take his head off in this film. He did not in the last one. We'll get to that. But you don't
get to see it. It's like Mandalorian season 1.
It is the way. Bunnyman is eating meat. We can only assume they're cannibals. But he's also feeding it to a rabbit inside of a cage right next to him.
Okay, and this is another moment where I was like, holy shit, this movie. Because I laughed really hard for like a good while after this. And I felt kind of fucked up.
You're
but
cruel.
It was just,
You're
it
sadistic.
Was so funny.
Yeah.
Because Joe says, how many times do I have to tell you, bunnies don't eat meat? And then Bunnyman cowers a little bit. And then he starts feeding him meat again. And he's like, God damn it, Bunnyman. How many bunnies do you have to kill before you get it through your head? And he picks the cage up. And I was like, oh, he's going to move it away. And he chucks it across the fucking room.
Yeah.
Into a wall.
I'm like, I think the problem is you, Joe, not Bunnyman. He's just trying to feed them.
They can survive hitting a wall if they haven't been eating meat.
What have I told you? You feed them meat, they're going to grow up and become just like you.
Haven't you ever seen if you give a mouse a cookie, if you give a rabbit some steak?
Oh, man. So Bunnyman watches his precious bunny, which I guess he just doesn't care about. You'd think that these things would add up, right? But they don't. He chucks this rabbit across the room, and then Bunnyman starts trashing the entire room. And then he starts getting like Nam flashbacks from the first movie.
Yeah, okay. And then is this when we're introduced to the voice in his head?
Not really. I mean, kind of, but it's not. I feel like that doesn't even come until that final moment.
It's throughout the whole movie. He literally has, there is a voice in his head at this point that's like, it's okay. No one's gonna hurt you. It's like, where the fuck is this weird like voice coming from? Because it's literally, I'm just gonna say it right now, it is never explained later in the movie either. It's the most batshit weird part of this movie.
Bunnyman's like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna take care of the flood. Leave me alone, Cortana. So, yeah, he's getting flashbacks from a worse movie, which is the first movie. We're just seeing scenes from the first movie in his head.
Previously on Bunnyman.
And then Joe's like, you gonna do something about that? And Bunnyman's like, no. Sits down. And then Joe proceeds to tell a child molester joke to cheer up Bunnyman.
And again, you know what? I laughed. I laughed at this joke. I did. It was really funny.
Okay.
Okay. I guess you don't agree with me. It was kind of funny because it's weird that he says child molester because it could have just been like a kidnapper.
Okay.
Like it didn't have to be like this sexual connotation. But the joke is a boy and a child molester are walking into a forest and the boy says, "Gee, mister, these woods sure are scary." And he says, "Hell yeah, they are. Imagine how scary they're going to be when I have to walk out of here alone."
Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, though. It's because it's child molester that you're like, damn it. There's like two things that happen to this kid before this joke's over.
Yeah. And that's the problem is like this movie does. Again, I talked about it in Bunnyman specifically because it did a thing I don't like that horror movies do. And that's using sexual assault as a standing point for horror in your movie when it doesn't serve a purpose to the story. And this movie does that a lot.
That's very trauma of them. Honestly.
Exactly. Yes, very much so. And that's one of the things I don't like about Trauma. But this movie really is like they're throwing around rape a lot. They're saying it all the time. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, you guys, like fucking write something better.
Well, that's the other thing about this movie is you say they're throwing around rape and they're making jokes and stuff like this, but this movie could have been a possible contender for some sort of horror if they would have chose one way or the other. Like either cut the horror and just be really funny about it, or cut the comedy and go for the dark side of this entire thing. Pick or choose.
So it's either go the Texas Chainsaw route, Texas Chainsaw 2 route, or go Hills Have Eyes. Those are the two routes you have to take.
Hills Have Eyes remake, man.
Yes, and
brutal.
That's the thing. That movie has a very, very hard to watch scene in it, but it is essential to the story and to the characters.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the opposite, when it comes to things that are essential to the story and the characters, we're finally introduced to what will become 2 out of 4 of our main characters. There's these 4 girls that are hiking in the area, and then in the weirdest interaction, 2 girls are like, "Oh, I'm tired," and the other 2 girls are like, "What the fuck? Like, Becky, what the fuck? You're like tired? Like, why'd you come out on your fucking hike and you're fucking tired?" Like, they're pissed for no reason.
What a bunch of assholes. Like, yeah, I have asthma, assholes. I'm fucking dying.
And so 2 girls are like, why don't you stay behind? And the girls who are the bitches, who actually become our final girls too, which is the first establishment of being like, I don't like our fucking final girls.
No, and you're not going to like them really soon too.
And so they're like, okay, we're going to keep going because some of us aren't like, tired bitches, and just leaves. Well, the other 2 girls are going, I don't know why they're such a bitch. And they're like, you be a bitch too if your parents just both simultaneously died. And you're like, well, what?
Yeah, it's like, wait, what, huh?
Guess what? That won't matter though for them as sisters. Because you find out in that moment that those 2 girls that left are the sisters that are supposed to have this hardcore dynamic that you're supposed to give a shit about. You won't.
Damn, I'm going to tell you right now, I definitely didn't give a shit because I didn't even realize they're sisters till you said it right now. So I just thought they were 2 chicks.
Okay, so the 2 girls that are left behind, they hear, I guess, Bunnyman wrestling in the woods, and one woman's just like, did you hear that? I'll be right back. What the what?
Yeah, what? Have you never seen Scream?
Have you never seen anything? So the other girl's like, yeah, sure. I'll wait right here. And then she hears a scream and there's absolutely no reaction to the scream.
Yeah, she doesn't give a shit. She's like, oh, thank God that bitch is dead.
She hears a scream, no reaction. She's just like, Caroline, or whatever her name is. And then Bunnyman begins to kill this girl instead. What was that scream from?
I think she just saw Bunnyman. I would be scared too. Oh shit, a bunny. It's not even Easter.
Because I guess he decides to kill the other girl. He's like, oh shit, well, she saw me. I'm really into like the element of surprise. So I'm going to go kill the other girl instead, I guess.
Yes.
So he kills this girl. It doesn't matter. And we move on to now this other girl is running from Bunnyman. And once again, I'm like, did we miss something? A development in this? Or is this a movie who's just like, you know what this is? Yeah, he killed her and now he's chasing her.
I think that's what it is. I think they're literally just like, we know what you want to see. It's the kills. And then you get to the kills. You're like, I didn't even want to see the kills. Honestly, I would kill for some character development. Fuck.
Yes, because this girl proceeds to hide in this barn. And then Bunnyman punches through a window and tries to grab her.
And then, okay, when he punches through this window and she runs away, I don't know if they like called cut or something. Or they didn't explain how the scene was supposed to play out, but Bunnyman walks away so nonchalantly out of the shot after punching through this window that I was like crying, laughing, thinking about it. Because he literally just saunters off in the background of the shot throughout. It's just like, and she's like, ah, and she walks away, and then he's just like, all right. Like I'll go to the next shot.
It's exactly the same as what happens to her. She runs away. He meets up with her. She grabs this pole like she's Donatello and proceeds to try to hit him with the pole. He catches it mid-palm and then pushes back on it, in which it hits her just right in the forehead. She tumbles down to the ground. And then the movie's like, finish her. Yeah. Because she just kind of like stands there like in a daze with her head bobbling back and forth.
Which is something that characters in this movie do multiple times.
Yes. Everybody is dazed beyond what is normal for a human being. So her head's bobbling and he's just like, chainsaw fatality. Like, he's like, and just kills her. So that's it.
And it's like a bunch of CGI blood. It looks fucking terrible. It's also from really far away. And then he just saunters off.
Now our main characters, Lauren and Sarah, who are the sisters, show up at Joe's general store. And he's just genuinely creepy.
This is when you can see the California flag in the shot.
Yes. They come in and they don't see him at first.
And they start talking shit about his store.
They do talk a lot of shit. But I mean, that's typical for this type of like hick movie, you know?
So she does something funny in this scene. She goes and it turns out to be important later, which is like kudos. I was not anticipating this movie to make anything that panned out later.
Continuity?
Yeah, like something that actually plays through the whole film. She touches the piano and like that's when he comes in and she walks away, which is going to be important later. I just want to touch on this piano for a moment because later in the movie someone asks Joe, do you play piano? And he says no. Yeah, no one plays that piano. It's a fucking player piano. It plays itself. No one like, what the fuck, you fucking moron?
Right?
You've never seen a Western movie before?
But there's also no evidence that was the people he's looking for. Like anybody could have come into the store and touched the piano.
Yeah, play piano? No. Oh, I really wanted to hear Piano Man. All right. Sorry to bother you, sir.
Cool.
I'll see you later. I fucking hate Billy Joel.
Somebody touched your piano then. I'm just letting you know.
Those bitches, it's a fucking player piano.
They're so fucking stupid. Women be stupid. Because he says that. Like,
he does
stupid
say it,
fucking bitches.
Yes.
Just
Listen,
hit play.
I'm going to come out and say this movie fucking hates women.
This movie, Joe is, and it starts right here hardcore. Joe is just the perfect incel.
Yes, he really is. Because he's like, all you bitches is the same. It's just like, all right, we're going to see ourselves out.
So Joe proceeds to kidnap these girls by holding them hostage with a gigantic, like 50 cal sniper rifle.
Which, again, this movie, it's like, just ask someone how stuff works, please. Because there's something later in this movie that happens with this gun where I'm like, if you guys just would have had one person on set that would have said, yeah, you probably can't do that with that gun, everything would have been better. It's just like there was no foresight into how anything actually works in real life with this gun specifically.
Well, there's no foresight in how a chainsaw works or any of these things.
No.
Joe takes these girls to their hideout, you know, the farm or ranch or whatever this is that this entire kind of complex is. It seems to have no limits or bounds. There's a farm. It's
America's Battleland.
Riverside. There's so much that I'm like, how big is this complex? But we're in, I guess, a garage, warehouse, factory kind of area.
Which is where they live as well.
Right.
Because this is the same place where they were sitting at the dining room table.
Yes. I mean, we're in the garage part where there's like racks and tools and I think there's cars, but I'm just trying to get a bearing on things just to establish like where each girl is through this, right? We have Lauren, who has been chained down to a mattress, and Bunnyman's in the room too. And we have Sarah, who is tied up with rope to a rack of tools. And Joe is just going to straight up rape this girl.
Yeah, and this is like I said, it's like, come on, you guys. That's such a like shitty crutch to lean on of like a real haunting crime and to do to someone. It's just like I don't fucking care. But then the characters, I'm not saying anyone deserves that. I just want to preface that. But then the characters do something where you're like, oh, you know what? Fuck everyone in this scene.
Agreed.
Like,
so Joe has this line, though, and I do love this line because it's so accurate. And to me, this is horror and comedy at the exact same time. The girl lying on the bed, he's pretty much on top of her face to face. And she's like, what do you want? What are you going to do with us? And he goes, we're going to fuck you up. What the fuck do you think we're going to do? Make you pancakes?
Yes, and that is another one of those where you're like, this movie has like 5 moments where you're like,
and then he continues. He's like, I hate pancakes. He like trails off. He's like, I hate pancakes, stupid fucking women.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, okay.
But I love that moment because horror wise, you're like, oh, yeah, that's fucking terrifying. Like, what are you going to do? Like, why would you even say the things that people say in horror movies? Sometimes the victims, like, what are you going to do to me? It's like, what the fuck do you think? It's not going to be good.
You're going to die. It's like, what are you going to do to me? Oh, actually, I'm actually just really scary looking, but I help people. So let's get you out of here. Like, what the fuck?
Or like if I was in that situation and somebody's like, what are you going to do to me? I'd be like, do you think that that's going to help your peace of mind right now to know?
I'd be like, listen, you probably would rather not know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, you should probably just hope for the best, which is scary to say in itself, you know, like that's that horror of that moment. So
yeah.
Sarah, who's watching her sister almost get raped, is like, I can bring you people. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's like, huh?
This movie gives us a plot in which one sister chooses to save her other sister by going out and bartering and saying, I can get you 4 to 3 other victims that I saw out in the woods.
Which is also funny because it's like, what makes you think they're just going to let you leave after you get these other people?
Yes.
Like they've given you no reason to believe they're just going to be like, all right, well, actually, that's a fair trade. That's actually a +1 trade, so we'll take it. Worst trade deal ever.
But they actually let her go, and then I'm like, wait, what? Like, and at first I was like, okay, she could just go get the cops, but he goes, oh, if you're not back in a half an hour with the victims, I'll blow your sister's brains out. And I'm like, okay, that's fair because he could still blow her brains out and she could return with more victims. So either way, he wins. But
yeah, exactly.
At the exact same time, she doesn't know that her friends aren't still out there.
No, yeah, she doesn't know that they're dead.
She never goes and looks for them. And in my mind, I'm like, were they the people she was offering?
No, I think these other people that she goes and finds actually were like the people that she saw.
So she literally just crossed paths with other hikers during the day and was like, yeah, they deserve to die.
Yeah, just like, and so here's my thing. She ends up going to a camp and finding 3 women. It's 3, right?
It is 3. She says 4, and he for some reason barters down to 3.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, 3 will do. I can't handle 4.
4 is too much woman for me. No, so what cracks me up is, listen, you're one lady with a pistol. I'm sorry, but 3 people can take you down.
Yeah,
I don't know why 3 people are just willing to be like, yeah, it's okay. She has a gun. We should listen.
Also, they gave her a gun?
What if she just took the gun and just shot him in the head right there?
Right there, done. Movie over. Like, maybe Bunnyman could have gotten a draw on her if he's got a quick start chainsaw, but she probably would have blown him away too. But nobody has the reaction or the speed in this movie to blow anybody away.
This movie literally is, every character is based off of a very interesting stance of the classic, like, honor system. Like, I won't kill your sister while you're gone. And she's like, and I won't shoot you right now when you give me this gun. He's like, cool. Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Before she does the kidnapping, we do see Bunnyman's first, like, real face moment where he takes his hat, or not his hat, his bunny helmet off, you know, like the mask. And he looks like a cut up flesh version of a mummy or something.
Oh shit, yeah. That's right.
He looks like a ripoff of Tiny from House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yes, he does.
Because it looks like he's just got like scrapes across his face. It basically looks like his face is one of those, if you look at a picture one way, you'll get it like the full picture. But then if you look at it from another angle, you'll get the other side of the picture, you know, like a museum art installation.
It's a schooner.
Or like that's what his face looks like. It just looks like it's
a
off.
Magic eye painting.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like that's what a lizard person looks like. Yeah, Sarah goes to these 3 girls and is like, hey, bitches, you're fucking coming with me. Why doesn't she say, my sister is in trouble. This is what's going on. I'm going to at least pretend to kidnap you, but we're going to go back there, and now it's 4 against 2.
Yeah, I know. I would have just outright been like, hey, I'm going to need your guys' help, but I need you to pretend like I kidnapped you.
Right? There's never like, this is a long fucking story, and it involves a guy in a bunny costume, and it's not Easter.
Yeah, it's not Easter.
But there's never a conversation. It's literally just to put hands up. You're fucking coming with me. And you're like, what?
Yeah, if someone would have come to me with a gun, and admittingly, if someone would have come to me with a gun and said, like, I need your help to get my sister out, I'd be like, nah. This is one of those, like, things that gangs do where they put a kid on the street and you go help them and they get you. Like, I'm not gonna fall for this bullshit.
Just shoot me right here.
I'll help your sister. Thanks. This guy in a bunny. Oh, fuck that.
I've seen way too many wrong turns.
I've seen all 6.
So she kidnaps these women and brings them to Bunnyman and Joe. And immediately Joe is like, well, thanks. Here's your sister. Have a good day. Thanks for these girls. And lets them go. And I'm like, what? And I do not recall, did he take the gun from them or not? But they actually are on their way. And they proceed to outside of the complex, or I think still on the same grounds, because like I said, I have no bearing for how big their complex is. They begin to argue as sisters.
Yeah, because the other sister is like, you really just gave up those people's lives to like save me? That's kind of fucked up.
For the first time, I was like, okay, this movie is finally thinking what the audience is thinking.
Yeah, and then she's like, She's almost just like, shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah, she was like, I lost mom and dad. I'm not going to lose you too. It's like, yeah, but that was 3 people. And you're like, why not the 2 of you now formulate a plan to help those people now that it's at least an even fight of 2 against 2?
No, I'm out. So I'm like, all right, well, that was sound. Let's go.
But while they're fighting, Bunnyman very quietly sneaks up in a Toyota 4Runner and proceeds to knock both of them out and kidnap them. And now they're all kidnapped. What?
Yeah, it's like, you guys, did you really think they were going to let you leave? Are you that dense?
Yeah. So now it's the next day, and the sheriff has come to visit Joe at his general store.
Yes, and this is when I had mentioned earlier about the piano being played, that this is when that actually comes back, because the sheriff's been, some of his deputies are missing, and he doesn't know why, so he's asking around, and then he notices that there's fingerprints on the piano, and that's when he asks Joe, do you play the piano? And Joe's like, no. So then he's like, someone's been here that shouldn't have been. It's like, yeah, dude, it's a fucking general store. Like, of course someone else has been here.
Hey, you eat Funyuns? No, I do not. Why
is there Funyun trash here? Damn, I love Funyuns. You shouldn't have mentioned that.
There's one bag missing. Noted. So the sheriff proceeds to have his suspicions that Joe might be involved in the murders or the disappearance of his deputies. And I'm like, I think you'd be a little more on the case than just being like, all right, you're literally the only guy up here and I sent them up here.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation because it's like, dude, what other leads do you have other than just like, this guy did it?
Yeah, the deputies were already up there for probably the same investigation, missing people. And you're like, there's one person that's a constant.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Especially because at this point, as a sheriff, I'd be like, we just had 30 kids massacred.
Oh, fuck. I totally forgot about all those kids dying.
We just had 30 kids massacred. Would not the entire place be on lockdown? Like, just the entire area?
No, because, like, you know how America goes. After kids are killed, we just kind of move on.
Yes. Prayers.
So, yeah, the sheriff is just kind of like, okay, him and Joe kind of have, like, a back and forth with each other. And again, kind of in like a ripoff of Texas Chainsaw 2 moment, they're definitely trying to kind of set this guy up as...
Oh, yeah, as Dennis Hopper. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they are setting up that the sheriff has a vendetta because he's got missing deputies. Whereas Dennis Hopper had a missing, what is it, nephew?
It's his niece and nephew were the main characters of the movie.
Now we have another scene back in the garage with Joe and these 3 girls that are now our new main girls for a while.
For a good while. I genuinely thought like we were done with the other girls at this point.
The movie's like, yeah, now it's their story. He decides to have them pick numbers, and the losing girl just happens to be the last girl to pick a number. And he pulls her out to now, I guess, the desert.
Well, so here's my question, right? He has them choose numbers and she chooses 2 and then she says she wins and then he kills her. So I'm like, wait, was the point to not choose the number or was the point to choose the number?
You win the quick release of death?
But she's not even killed quick because admittingly, this is the coolest concept for a kill and the weakest execution of said kill because it's a cool concept, and then they're just like, yeah, that was a cool concept, huh? And that's where it's left.
You're absolutely right. When I first watched this in a clip to prepare for the movie, I could not help but think, in every single subsequent time that I've seen this scene, I still wince about it.
Yeah, because the thought of it is intense.
Yes.
For those who are like being like, okay, just get on and tell us what the fuck the kill is. He puts her in a plastic bin, like a barrel, like a 55-gallon drum, and proceeds to drill a bunch of screws through it And then they kick her down a hill and she rolls in it.
It's still, even saying it out loud, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cringe-inducing. It's just when she gets out of it and she's just covered in blood, you're like, all right. It's like, that's fucking lame.
I fucking hate pancakes and I hate pancake syrup all over girls.
Yeah, I hate women.
So she's dead. Now we're back to the other two girls. Joe has revisited them and the girl is like, please don't kill me. Let me go. I'll give you money. He's like, where you got money? She's like, my back pocket. And he's like, mind if I grab it? And you're like,
I genuinely thought this was going to be a much more clever moment than it is, because he literally just takes her money and he's like, thanks.
Yeah. Grabs the money and counts it. And he's like, you're only worth $100? And she's like, some things are worth more than money. And he's like what? And she goes, like a dinosaur. What? Yeah. I had to rewind it because I was like, what did she say?
Did I hear that wrong?
Yeah. And I put closed captions on because I just could not fathom that she said a dinosaur.
Damn, you were actually so shocked that you went against your own morals and turned on the subtitles.
I hate to read. So Joe releases one girl. He's like, you think you have a chance? Go ahead. And that girl goes a-running. And I don't understand why this movie has an obsession with its victims climbing onto the roofs of RVs.
Okay, I was so baffled by this moment because she climbs onto the roof of an RV and then Bunnyman finds her and proceeds to... Now listen, you guys, this is an RV, a motorhome. He hits it slightly and she is knocked off the top of it.
Yeah, she is well, that's the other thing is though, she is standing she's not crouched or anything.
No, she's just standing in the open on the roof.
Why are you just standing there being like, where do I go now? And Bunnyman, even with a mask on, is like, man, there's a girl standing on the roof. He kicks it over. She falls over, hits her head. Boom, she's recaptured.
Thank God she only fell about 3 feet, though. Yeah. The way that the camera shows her falling motion is very clearly they just all right, now sit on your knees and just kind of slowly tilt yourself over to the ground. It's just so shitty looking.
So the other girl, Joe releases her now, and he's like, I'll give you a head start because I love the chase. And the other girl is now loose. She proceeds to hide in the kind of workshop tool shed area. This is where Bunnyman brings in the other girl who just got caught falling off the roof, puts her on a drill press, and this is where I began to yell at the screen out loud. Because this girl who is hiding in the tool shed is just watching her friend get drill pressed.
And this is the kill where I was like, all right, they put some gore. It looked kind of okay. It didn't look good, but compared to everything else in this, at least it had gore. Because they do drill into her head and then a big chunk of meat comes off of the drill bit, which is okay, good for you guys. You got it.
But I'm just there being like, save your fucking friend. That's what I was yelling at the screen. Save your fucking friend. I don't understand why this girl just watched her friend where Bunnyman back was to this girl. And there's plenty of tools all around her. Nobody cares about anybody in this film except themselves.
Nope.
This girl makes a noise and Bunnyman hears her and proceeds to chase after her. And this girl gets on top of a tractor trailer, the box of a tractor trailer.
Yes, and he oh my God, proceeds to lasso her with a hook and he can't even see her.
He lassos her with a hook, but she's also just like the last girl before her, standing on top of this trailer, and then she gets ripped down. And I'm at this point in the movie thinking, all three of you deserved what happened to you.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, everyone in this movie deserves what happens to them. So yeah, they're all captured now, and they're back in that like garage barn type thing, and they're all tied up on this like rafter beam, the three of them. Now, this is where it's confusing because they're up there and Joe and Bunnyman leave the room and the girl that's not one of the sisters is like, I'm going to get out of here. And they're like, stop. You're going to make them mad. It's like, you guys are fucking idiots. You deserve to die. But were you as confused about this next part as I was? She proceeds to break the rafter beam.
That they're all tied up on the same beam.
And get off. But the sisters are not apparently tied to the same rafter beam, even though they very clearly are all tied to the same rafter beam. So, like, how come this girl's free and they don't do anything?
They don't move. They just stay there, like, with their arms tied to the ropes up in the rafter beam in the air. When it's clearly there was a shot prior to Bunnyman and Joe leaving in which all three of them were definitely on the same beam.
I like it.
So they just stay there, but I guess they were waiting for Bunnyman and Joe to be distracted because they do indeed leave after this scene.
Because Bunnyman and Joe pursue that girl that got down to right outside of the barn, and they sneak out and run off while they're killing her.
I do like that this girl that did break it, she's the one that got kidnapped from Sarah. So she's just like, yeah, fuck you bitches. Right. And I was just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like I wouldn't help them either. And that's what I thought in my mind until I went, wait, that's the same beam.
Yeah. You did rescue them.
But yeah, I wouldn't stay with you. But at the same time, maybe I would just for safety in numbers at this point. But neither one of those things are discussed because she just runs out. Bunnyman proceeds to chase her. And this is where the movie just goes into like a weird voiceover again as he's strangling this woman.
Yeah, and it's like, you'll be okay, Bunnyman.
Yeah, like I was just at a point where I was like, what happened? Did this woman before she died, did she say Martha? Like, why is he like hearing?
We have the same mother.
Why did you say that name? Yeah, because the whole movie goes into slow-mo and then angelic choir is happening. Like it's the end of Face Off with John Woo's doves going through the chapel.
Yeah, and like I said, it literally, there's a voice telling him, it's okay, it'll be over soon. Nobody'll hurt you. And then he like lets go of her throat, and I thought like, oh, she just got saved because Bunnyman had like divine intervention. But no, she's dead.
Bunnyman was like, whoa, oh God, did anybody else hear the theme from Mr. Bean? I had to stop killing. That was crazy. So yeah, he stops killing her that way. And then just chops her up with a chainsaw before the other two girls go running behind their back.
So they meet up and they find the sheriff. And they're like, Sheriff, there's a man killing people. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, go in my car. For some reason, my gun is only loaded with 2 bullets, but you might need it.
Also, why are these girls screaming at the top of their lungs within feet of where they just escaped? To the point where that's how Joe knows that they're now, like, he has to chase after them.
Yep.
They're just like, help! Help us! And Joe's like, well, the bitch just escaped. This guy, by the way, Joe, the guy who's playing Joe is pretty much just channeling Danny McBride the whole time. I don't know. That's what he reminds me of.
No, yeah, I can see it without a doubt.
So these two girls were screaming. They found the sheriff. The sheriff's like, okay, I'll go find him. And this is where he runs into Joe. This
is the dumbest fucking moment in this movie.
He's got the draw on Joe. Joe's back is to the sheriff and the gun is pointed on Joe. And somehow he does not hear the gigantic 50 caliber sniper rifle that Joe has in his hands reloading.
Because this is totally the movie trying to be like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Because they have a standoff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's like, I don't believe in the justice system. So let's just like basically have a draw.
Yeah, because at first he proposes, he's like, he gets him to turn around, which immediately, I'm like, wrong. You tell him to put the gun down while his back's to you. Like, you just do. You know, any smart police officer would. But OK, I'll go along with the like, we're going to have like a man to man shootout, I guess. But I feel like a better revenge would be like, put the gun down, turn around. Now I blow your brains out.
So he has this draw. And this is what I was saying earlier, remember, about like if you just had one person on set who knew how guns worked. Right.
Yes.
OK, they have a draw and they both get shot and they both die. Right. Well, they both get shot, and the sheriff is much more hurt.
It's like a slow motion, and Joe definitely fires first somehow.
I am sorry, but you cannot hip fire that gun like that.
Oh, you've never played Call of Duty, sir.
I have. I've been playing Warzone. You can't. You just can't. There's no fucking way.
And somehow he wins the draw.
Yeah, because this allows him to go to the cop, and it's almost as if they were like, we didn't fill our gore quota, because he starts crushing the cop's head.
Meanwhile, the cop is reaching for his own gun that is lying right beside him. And I'm like, dude, you had plenty of time to find and use the gun before he gouged your eyes out. That's how much time that this movie gives you with like reaction shots. They hold on a cut for like 5 seconds of him scrambling for a gun. And you're like, yeah, that was plenty of time for you to have felt it and found it.
Yeah, so he proceeds to shoot the gun.
He Tyler Durdes him.
Yeah. Is this when do we find out now that he actually shoots him in the neck, or is that later?
Yes, he Tyler Durdes him right in the neck. But you do not see the aftermath of that. You think his brains got blown out.
Yeah.
And that scene is done. The cop, obviously, his eyes gouged out. He's dead as well. We cut over to Sarah and Laura, who have just been sitting in the cop's pickup truck, not even watching each other's backs. To come back. Not watching each other's back. You would think after this, everything that's happened, you're not just back to back being like, we're going to wait for the cop.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why you would be like, okay, let's take watch, like on each side of this car, because it allows for Laura to be pulled out of the car by Bunnyman. To which I think the other sister tries to shoot the gun.
Not in time, though. Like, that's the thing. So she still does have a gun, I guess, maybe from the cop, or she took it for somebody, but she has one.
No, it's from the cop, because he said there's a gun in the car. It only has two bullets in it.
Yeah.
You're going to shoot everyone in the car, but then the government's going to show up right after you kill all of them.
So Bunnyman is smashing this girl against the truck, and then in enough time for her to get out of the driver's seat, Sarah runs across the truck, points the gun at Bunnyman, and does not immediately fire, but yet also doesn't say freeze. Enough time for Bunnyman to kill her sister and then swipe the gun away from her. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why are people's reactions so delayed in this film?
I don't know, because her next reaction is the worst thing that this film could do. It's egregious. It is outright just wrong. And just like, you're just like, literally, I didn't want to see any more of this movie after what happens next, because she gets the gun back. She's holding Bunnyman at gunpoint. He steps towards her, and she shoots herself in the fucking head.
And I was like, good, you stupid bitch. Like, I just didn't matter. It didn't matter.
My whole thing is like, you are literally point blank from Bunnyman. You could shoot him in the head. You could shoot him and it would stop him temporarily and you could get away.
Yeah, you at least have a chance. Like, give yourself a fighting chance, because he's going to chainsaw her. So I guess she was like, yeah, I'm a really poor shot. So like, might as well get real up close and personal on myself instead of him.
Yeah, because she pops herself.
Yeah, I was like, good, because honestly, this is the only thing that felt satisfying in this film, is that this bitch got, and I don't say bitch lightly, this bitch got 3 additional people killed, and then to try to save her sister, and then yet still got her sister killed too. Good.
Yep.
Good. Honestly.
So then our Bunnyman walks into the woods and he finds Joe laying there on the ground. And he's like, yeah, fucking kill me, Bunnyman. I know you want to. To which he cocks the gun and kills him.
Yeah. Shoots him right in the head with a giant sniper rifle again. Like hip fires it.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
So the movie proceeds to do the iconic Texas Chainsaw kind of sunset shot.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, you're going to go walking off into the sunset? Nope. Let's show some other shit that doesn't matter real quick.
Yeah, I don't get it. They were like, we really got to pad it out. We need 2 more minutes and it's feature length.
So Bunnyman has another voice talking to him.
Yep.
What is this voice?
I don't know.
I don't understand why this movie decided to give something that you obviously know what it is as this filmmaker. As Lindbergh, you know what this film is as a horror comedy. Why are you also giving it this weird backstory subtext of like some mother or something?
Yeah.
Because that's what you get as the credits roll, is you get footage of Joe and other people happy, like they weren't crazy at one point or something, right?
Yeah, and it's like, what is that?
Right? It's like if you played like Kodachrome over it. You know what I'm talking about? Like it was like happy old footage memories where it was like, and the music that plays over the credits suggests that it's happy as well. Because if it was creepy music, you're like, oh no, that's footage of them just being creepy, you know, smiling because they're creepy. But no, it's also happy music. So I'm very curious what's going on there. And there were llamas.
Yeah.
And there is a final shot of a baby that is clearly being cared for by a mother. So I don't know how Bunnyman came to be. How did he get laceration face?
Yeah, I don't know. Because this movie's never going to tell us.
No. Hopefully it all works out in Bunnyman vengeance.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Hopefully it all works out in Bunnyman versus Superman.
No, I'm serious. There's one more movie. You've got to do Bunnyman Vengeance.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry,
that'll
buddy.
That'll be next Easter.
Oh, if there is
Maybe
a next
Jesus
Easter.
will come. I know, man. We'll be coming to you live from our doomsday bunker.
I mean, it already feels like that. I've got everything really set. I'm feeling really comfortable lately. So, would you recommend this movie?
No, not at all.
I was on the fence and I was going back and forth, and I think I would have to agree. I would not recommend this movie either, or at least I would never want to rewatch it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was awful. Why'd they have to do my town like that?
Is there anything else, Riverside, that you know of?
Like movies wise?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot because it's desert, but you don't have to go that far.
Why do you?
And it looks very hick-ish.
Why do you keep living in places where shit films are filmed, like Birdemic?
Oh God! Damn. Sorry, not all of us can be from where The Wire is made, okay?
Damn. How about he's not that into you?
No, that's just your life.
Damn. Oh, that hurts so bad. Okay, so what would you give it on the Jaws scale?
This is a Jaws 4, man. This is a piece of shit.
Damn. Okay. I think I have to agree. There's no redeeming value to this movie.
Nope.
Sorry.
The boobs you get to see aren't even good.
No. So, that's what we thought about it, but there's still a lot of people that we've yet to hear from. Our first person on that list is Carly. This is What Did Carly Think?
All right. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this segment, Carly is my wife, and she unfortunately has to sit through a lot of these movies with me. So, yeah, she hated this. She equated it to when she would go and watch, like shorts that I was working on when I was in like community college, and we would go to like a short film festival at the school. She said, this looked like something someone there would make, but worse. And I was like, damn, this had a budget. So that's her equation of the film. But yeah, she hated it. She didn't think the kills were particularly good, which is like, that's true. And she hates Bunnyman.
I tend to agree. Thank you, Carly, for that one.
I want to make a, you make basketball brackets.
Sure.
Right? I want to make a tournament bracket.
A bad movie bracket, yeah.
No, not a bad movie.
I'm like, I've thought about that one already.
Who would win out of our holiday like killers, like holiday horror film killers? We pit them together.
I mean, do you put the heavyweights? Do you put Michael and Jason in there though?
No, because they're not. I mean, Michael could go in there because he is specifically a holiday.
Well, he's just going to win. Michael Myers in a fight against Robert Bryan Wilson, Silent Night, Deadly Night, or, Part 2 and stuff like that, or April Fools, like the slasher in Slaughter High. Yeah, Michael Myers is definitely still going to win.
I don't think he'll win against Leprechaun.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we still have one group of people that we have yet to hear from, and they're the most important people, or at least they think so. This is Gimme 5. These are 5-star and 10-star reviews that are pulled from the internet. Tyler finds these. I have no idea what they're going to say, and that's part of the fun. This first one is written by Celt of Missouri. This one's on Amazon. It's titled, "The original was great, with this one being basically just as good." One of these movies that gets you right there, and there, and there. The original was great, with this one being basically just as good.
I wouldn't argue with that at all. But not the great part. I'm just saying this is just as good as the first one.
Watching Bunnyman work his magic with his chainsaw is similar to watching Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw films. That was the intention. If you have a twisted sense of humor, this film's for you. And by all means, watch the original Bunnyman as well. Hey, everyone needs a hero. Bunnyman or Leatherface, take your pick. 5 stars on Amazon.
Obviously I'm choosing Leatherface, you fucking idiot. It's like
2 people found this review helpful. The next one is written by Frank. Nice to have you on the show, Frank. Just Frank.
It's me. I'm going to be frank with you. I love this movie.
This one's titled, "The movie is a sleeper and could outrun many masterminded movies by the best directors. I loved it." So, is that the review? Written July 1st of 2018. Yes, this movie is a sleeper and could outrun many... God damn it. Yes, this movie is a sleeper and could outrun many masterminded movies by the best directors. I loved it. Caught me and my wife off guard. She laughed her butt off. Very twisted and unsuspecting. Great movie. 5 stars on Amazon. 2 people found this review helpful. Okay. Thanks for making me just repeat myself, Tyler.
Yeah.
The last one is written by Kitsune. "Bunnies Don't Eat No Meat" is the title. So that goes back to that infamous scene in which we smashed a rabbit across the table.
Yes.
This was written November 11th, 2018. I actually like this a lot more than I should. A couple of points, though. 1, no movie should open with a bus full of kids getting killed. Spoiler alert, but I think people should be warned. 2, no one's boobs have that much freaking space between them. No one's boobs have that much space between them. There's plenty of gore and everyone gets killed differently, so it's not just a guy with a machete hacking everyone down. There's some creativity. I gave it 5 stars because a couple of lines had me and my boyfriend laughing so hard we were crying, and we bust up laughing every time we quote them. 2 people found this review helpful. 5 stars on Amazon. What?
Boobs do not have that much space between
Also,
them.
to learn that it was written by a female.
Yes.
Possibly. I mean, I don't want to assign gender roles, but it said me and my boyfriend. It could be a gay dude talking shit too. But what? Like, that's what you absolutely have to put in your review?
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, we just spent an hour and a half dissecting every piece, so
yes, exactly.
Kudos to you, Katsune.
Yeah.
That was the Bunnyman Massacre.
Woof.
Don't watch it.
Well,
skip it.
Don't watch it.
If you feel
Skip
like you
it.
have to, I always feel like I forget. I should put this at the beginning of the show. If you feel like watching this movie, watch it on Amazon Prime. It is free there, but if you can avoid it at all cost, I would say please do.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, that about does it for us here at Bombs Away. Thank you for listening to the Bunnyman Massacre. Happy Easter and all that jazz. Go ahead and check us out.
We're very religious.
I don't care about Easter.
And the Lord said on the third day, I have risen and all that jazz.
He is raisin. So if you liked this episode, go ahead and like it. Give us a subscribe if you haven't already. Write us a review. Let us know what you think by shooting us a DM on our Instagram. All of our social medias are at Bombs Away Show. We're always checking the DMs. We're always glad to interact with fans of the show. Again, I hope everyone out there is staying safe, staying isolated, and buying their toilet paper if you can find it. You got to wear a mask when you go outside now, so that sucks. But we're all in this together, and I know we're going to get through it. So thanks for listening and enjoying the show. It means a lot to us, and we hope that we're bringing you guys some joy in this very weird time. And you have anything to plug there, Jonathan?
Nope, couldn't have said it better, sir.
All right. Well, that does it for us here at Bombs Away. I'm Tyler.
I'm Jonathan.
And Dog will hung.
We're going to fuck you up. What the fuck you think we're going to do to you? Make you pancakes? I hate pancakes. Stupid goddamn fucking women.
This has been a production of Big Bulb Entertainment, executive produced by Jonathan Young. For more media and information, visit us at www.bigbulbentertainment.com. Big Bulb, what's your bright idea?